Okay, let's kick this deep dive off with a question.
Yeah, go for it.
It's one that I think almost everyone feels. Do you feel like the years are just passing way faster now? Like much faster than when you were a kid?
Oh, completely. It's that feeling you get, right after New Year's where you think, wait, wasn't it just summer?
Exactly. It feels like last month. And for a long time, this was just sort of a philosophical thing, right? Like a year is a smaller piece of your life as you get older.
Right, the proportional theory.
Mm.
But the sources we're looking at today pull this out of philosophy and drop it right into psychology, into neuroscience.
Yes, that's the key. We're not talking about physics or relativity. We're talking about something your brain is actively doing. The sources we've got point to this one surprising reason, and it's all about the brain's internal filing system. They call it memory compression.
And that's our mission here, really. To get that, the speed of time you feel isn't about the calendar on the wall. It's about, well, the amount of information you've been feeding your brain.
It changes everything. The whole idea is that the length of a year, when you look back on it, is directly tied to the number of new, unique memories you stored.
So if you stored fewer memories,
The year feels shorter. It's as simple as that. So let's really unpack this idea of memory compression because this one mechanism is the key to why your 20s felt like an entire era and, your 40s can feel like a long weekend.
yeah, and what's so fascinating is that the brain isn't a precise clock at all. It doesn't care about seconds or minutes.
It uses a different metric.
A totally different one. It judges how long a period was based entirely on the volume of new data it stored. Think of it less like a watch and more like a computer's hard drive.
Okay, so if I open the mental folder for last year and it's just full of nearly identical files.
Your brain runs a compression algorithm. It basically says, this is all the same, I can shrink this down,
Yeah.
and that's why the year feels short. It's an efficiency protocol.
That's the core of it then. If the number of novel memories is low, the brain just sort of, squishes that time together when it looks back?
It reduces the file size, exactly.
Yeah.
And that smaller file size translates directly into that feeling of time speeding up. You feel less resistance, I guess, when you scan back across the timeline. It just seems to fly by.
But hold on, we need to define unique here. I mean, if I spend an hour washing the dishes, my brain is processing data. Does that count?
No, and that's a great point. The sources are very specific about this. The brain isn't just a passive video camera. It's an active filter.
It's prioritizing constantly. It's looking for two things, novelty and emotional significance. So something repetitive like that daily commute or, washing dishes for the 1,000th time. That just gets filtered out. It's background noise. So the brain is like a ruthless accountant trying to save energy. It sees the same transaction every day, and instead of logging it 365 times, it just makes one entry called the daily grind.
That is a perfect analogy. The energy it takes to form a brand new long-term memory is significant. It takes attention. So if what you're doing is predictable, the brain just goes, oh, I know this pattern, and it skips making a new memory to save resources.
And that is memory compression in action.
That's it. It files the experience under an old existing memory.
Okay, so we've got the mechanism. Low novelty equals low memory storage, which equals time feeling like it's accelerating. So that leads to the really critical question.
The why.
Yeah, why? Why do adults store so few of these important memories compared to kids?
And that brings us right to the main culprit the sources identify. Routine.
Routine.
As we get older, our lives just become, well, more efficient, more stable. And routine is the single biggest accelerator of subjective time.
Which sounds like a good thing, right? Stability, efficiency,
Yeah.
knowing what to expect. But you're saying that's a trap. It's a huge trap, neurologically speaking. There's a phrase in the research that really hits home. Adults are often living the same day repeated. Wow.
Think about it. Once you have a career, a home, a family, your brain switches from exploration mode, which is all about learning new things,
Which is basically all of childhood.
right? And it switches to exploitation mode, which is about getting the most out of the systems you already know. And that mode thrives on repetition.
It saves brain power.
It does. We use habits, so we don't have to think about every little thing. But the trade-off is that you're basically telling your brain, hey, this part of my life, it's not important enough to remember in detail.
Okay, but let me push back a little. What if I'm working on a really complex project for months? My routine is the same office, same commute, but the work itself is really demanding. Doesn't that count?
That's a really important distinction. The strain itself doesn't guarantee a memory. It has to be unique strain.
So new problems, new skills.
Exactly. If you're learning something fundamentally new, those periods will feel long and be memorable. But if that complex project just involves doing the same type of analysis over and over, even if it's hard, the brain quickly compresses the process.
I see. So it's not about the intensity, it's about the novelty of the neural pathway you're using.
You've got it. You'll remember the big emotional moment, like the project launch.
Yeah.
That's unique. But the 3 months of routine work leading up to it, that's going to be a blur.
Okay, let's contrast this with a kid then to really make it clear. A child is just a novelty machine.
Totally. A 7-year-old is basically an information sponge. Every day is new sounds, new words, new faces, new rules. Their brain is in full-on construction mode, building its entire operating system.
Their first time seeing snow, learning a new word, tasting a new food.
Yes, all of those are distinct, high-priority data points. A single week for a child can contain dozens of firsts. So the memory count for that year is massive. When they look back, first grade feels like it lasted forever.
Because the timeline is packed with these little memory hooks.
The files are huge.
Right.
And then you have the adult, where that same year just blinked by.
The contrast is it's staggering. The adult brain is filing everything under work week quarter 3, while the child is creating hundreds of new folders.
And that's why the year feels short. When the adult brain looks back, there's almost nothing new to grab onto. It's a smooth, featureless landscape.
It really makes it sound like a failure of imagination, on our part. We stop seeking out new things, and our brain just shrinks our life in response.
I wouldn't call it a moral failure, but it is a neurological consequence. We're wired to save energy, and novelty is expensive energy-wise.
Yeah.
To fight memory composition, you have to intentionally, create friction. You have to force your brain to wake up and pay attention again.
So if we accept all this, the big takeaway is, wow, the actual speed of time is irrelevant. The problem is entirely internal.
That's the core realization. It's the way our brain preserves moments, as one source puts it. We've trained our brains for efficiency, and the side effect is that our perception of our own timeline shrinks.
So for anyone listening who feels like their life is a blur, the solution is simple. Maybe not easy, but simple.
You have to generate new memories. You have to feed the clock.
You have to actively fight the automation.
Yes. Intentionally introduce new variables. And it doesn't have to be, moving to another country. It just has to be different. Take a new route home, learn to cook something totally new, listen to music you think you hate.
Anything to force your brain to create a new file.
Anything that creates one of those dense memory hooks that, in effect, slows down time.
Which brings us to the final thought from the source material, and it's a bit chilling. It reframes this from a cool brain trick to a serious existential warning.
Yes, this is where it gets really deep. Because if we let our lives become routine and we stop making unique memories, the consequence isn't just that the year felt short. It's much worse.
What is it? The quote is, "It's as if time doesn't change, and we are the ones disappearing from our own memories."
Well, that really lands. We're not physically disappearing, but the actual experience of those years is basically being erased from our own recall. Exactly. You are actively making yourself forget huge chunks of your own life. When you look back at a decade and it's just a blur, it's not because time flew. It's because you didn't give your future self anything to hold on to.
So the length of your life, when you look back on it, isn't measured in years. It's measured in the density of unique memories you kept.
To live a life that feels long, you have to live a life that is full of novelty. You are the architect of your timeline.
Fill it with repetition, and your brain will compress it to nothing. Fill it with newness, and you make the years feel full and long and meaningful.
You really do.
So here's the final thought we want to leave you with from this deep dive. Now that you know the measure of time is actually the measure of novelty, what is one new thing you can do tomorrow?
Just one small thing.
One small, deliberate thing to make a unique memory that your brain can't just compress and file away.
It's about challenging your own efficiency. Break a single pattern, because by choosing novelty, you are literally choosing to slow down your life. It's the only real way to take back your time.